Hello everyone, and welcome back. So, V, you make your way across the town square and up the stairs into the cathedral. What do you do?
So which side is the vestry on? Or like, how do I get there?
Basically,
Vestry? Vestry.
vestry, yes. Basically, on this image, it's on the right hand side, but basically in the cathedral, it would be on the left hand side. But basically, yes, if you were to walk across from the entrance across the hall to the other side, head down the left hand side of the thing towards the altar, you would encounter a door.
I guess that's where I'll go without saying anything. I hope there isn't a ceremony
Okay.
being held right now or anything.
As you take a glance around, you see that some sort of small-scale ceremony is in process. However, it basically seems to be like the front 2 or 3 pews have got a scattering of people in them. And basically what seems to be happening is there's basically a small choir of 3 or 4 people singing a hymn, whilst a man in a robe not entirely similar from yours is reading from a book. He's talking quite quietly though, because he's obviously only talking to the people at the front benches. And people seem to be milling around, sort of preparing the space for something, presumably another ceremony later. But you give me just a sort of a general stealth check to see sort of like if you blend in to the surroundings effectively. Okay. Yeah, it's fairly easy for you to sort of just move amongst the other people in robes. Basically, the woman who greeted you the other day, who was standing at the side of the entrance, gathering up all the books. She doesn't even bat an eyelid as you walk in, seeing sort of your robe, and she doesn't even begin to talk to you. You just breeze past her. And you begin to walk down one side. As you walk past the pews where the people are sitting, you can begin to hear the dialogue from the reading. An older gentleman stands up from the pew and makes to move out, and almost bumps into you, and just sort of goes, "Oh, my apologies," and just carries on without a beat. And yeah, you basically walk up to the cathedral, the vestry door, where indeed, as Cassian has described, there are 2 men clad in chainmail with tabards depicting Pelorian insignia of a radiant sun.
Right. I'm just gonna sort of walk up to them and just sort of like do like a very slow nod, sort of like, I don't know, not even just doing anything yet, just sort of like assuming they will just let me in.
Okay. So you begin to sort of walk towards them. One of them sort of sees your robe and takes a look at you. The other one almost seems to just be sort of more focused on listening to the what's being said, but one of them just sort of holds up a hand and sort of like he looks at you quizzically as if he doesn't quite recognize you.
Shit. Do I pull out the letter yet? Fuck. Yeah, I guess I pull out the letter and give it to him.
Okay. You pull out the letter and silently hand it to him. Takes a look at it. He barely seems to gloss over the sort of the first maybe paragraph before he sort of just folds it up and hands it back to you and just sort of indicates, "Go on in."
Awesome.
Nice. Sweet. Hell yeah.
give him another nod and carry onwards.
Okay. You push the door open into the vestry, into a 30-foot by 30-foot square containing various cupboards for clerics to store their robes. Exactly as has been described to you by Cassian.
Right, how do I get into this next room? 'Cause that's what the thing's gonna be.
You look straight ahead of you and there is an arch leading directly into the next room.
Oh shit, awesome. Okay.
You walk through. You find yourself in a 40-foot by 60-foot room, faced by basically a large mural. Give me a perception check as you look at this mural. Okay.
It's a mural.
It's
Some
really
religious shit.
yeah, it's really kind of pretty. There's some men in a corner who seem to be sort of like tending to some sheep. There's some dudes doing some farming. And focus V, got a mission to do.
I'll look at the animals. So is this the room that the rod is supposed to be in?
It's the room that apparently has artifacts contained in it, and it was Cassian's deduction that if the rod is being stored here, it would be in here somewhere.
Right, time to have a look-see around, see if I can find any rod.
Okay. Give me an extended investigation check as you look around.
Shit, bro.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Cool. Basically, the first thing that you do is you immediately go over to basically what is a very large lockbox that is basically placed on the side, and sort of you look at it and you go to try the lid and it's quite clearly locked, but the moment you go to try the lid, a glint on the corner of the table basically catches your eye, and basically underneath a folded I forgot what they're called. The things that sort of drape over your neck that are part of vestments. Basically, there's one of those folded up on the table, and underneath it is a key. You push the key into the front of the lockbox and pop the lockbox open, and it basically seems to contains a tray in the top which contains denominations of money that seems to be some sort of collection, and then it lifts out, and underneath it are basically a series of like Pelorian sigils and artifacts. And the moment you sort of pop this out, you feel that there is a strong magical presence emanating from some of these objects. None of which look like a rod in any shape or form.
Shit.
You sort of, seeing that none of them is a particular rod, you sort of put it down, you lock it back up again, put the key back where you found it. And then very quickly sort of glance around the rest of the room. There doesn't really seem to be anything else in this room that could be storage. Like, there's a couple of cupboards that you pull open and they've got like tablecloths or candlesticks or serving plates in them. And you're beginning to sort of like be like, where on earth could this be? When you basically notice that the mural on the wall that you previously just sort of dismissed because you were focusing on what it is that you were doing, the mural basically seems to be a separate panel that is sort of like set into the wall, with basically a frame around it. And this thing is like massive, and it must be basically built into the wall. But from the way it is built, it's either built into a recess or there is an empty space behind this mural somewhere. And as you're looking, you notice that into the frame there is basically like what looks like a massive carved scroll in the stonework that basically bears the words in common, Those who seek Palor's light need only touch his eye.
His eye? I mean, is Palor on the mural?
Give me another sort of like investigation check as you like look at the mural. Again, like there's like quite a lot of people in this mural. And basically, like they all seem to be doing different tasks, but the center point of the figure, center point of the mural is a figure in white robes who is addressing a crowd of women and children who are basically all eating, and like the guy could be Palor. He looks like a priest of Palor.
Can I touch his eye? Is there anything there?
What exactly do you do?
I don't know. Is it like super high up?
No. Like it's basically it's a little. His head would be a little bit above head height, basically.
Can I touch his face?
Yep. You touch his face. Nothing seems to happen. Like it just seems to be like a painted, not canvas surface, but like what's the it's like it's like a veneered sort of like wooden surface. It's painted on wood.
But I'm not looking for Palor's light. I'm looking for something that belongs to Rhytherion.
Give me a religion check.
Oh shit.
Holy shit.
Damn. Wow.
I know some things.
Just as you're about to stop touching the mural, you pause for a moment and you rewind what has just happened back in your head, and you remember catching strains of conversation as from the front of the church as you were sort of standing there waiting for the guy to look at your letter. And one of the things that is said is the sun's light, much like Palor, watches over us.
So I need to touch the sun? I don't... Is there a sun?
Looking at the mural, basically in the upper right-hand corner, there is basically like a small sun emitting radiant light down on the scene.
Can I investigate that sun instead, though?
Yeah, you need to sort of like stand on a chair or something, but there are like chairs nearby that you could sort of stand on and fiddle.
Really hope nobody walks in on this.
Okay. You stand up on the chair. As you reach up and touch the sun, you do actually notice that the sun is a different texture to the rest of the mural. It's almost like a ceramic disc rather than a part of the wood.
Like, can I move it, or can I like remove it? I don't even know.
There's no like physical edge for you to get a hold of it and take it out, and it doesn't like it's flush with the surface, so it's not like you can push it around on the mural.
Can I push it into the mural?
You press lightly on it. It does seem to recede inwards, and now it feels like you could slide it.
Okay. Can I try to do that? Is it like slide it in any direction or in like one direction?
You fiddle with it for a second. It slides basically into the left.
Okay.
Behind it is basically a section of stonework with a smaller circular socket inside that seems to have the relief of a sun on it.
What? Can I investigate that?
Sure, give me an investigation check. From the feel of it, it's almost like something is supposed to slot into here. Something with a sun on it. And from the way the sun is set, once the if this thing with the sun were to push into it, the object you put in it would act almost like a disc that would allow you to rotate something.
Okay. I don't have anything to put in it, I don't think.
Give me a religion check. You have another flashback. You remember the first time you came into the cathedral and you saw the priest putting on his... taking off his traditional robe and putting on his lesser robe. And you remember seeing a flash of silver around his neck. Of a holy symbol, disc-shaped holy symbol, with the symbol of the sun on it.
I don't want to steal someone's holy symbol. That's evil.
Yeah, Vondal's definitely gonna have a problem with that.
Yep. Vondal will never find out. Hopefully.
If he's not gonna do it either, then that's the problem.
You hear footsteps.
Oh shit, I get off my chair.
Okay. Okay. Give me a perception check. Okay, the moment you're about to jump down from the chair, you realise you haven't slid the disc back.
Quickly do that.
Okay,
If I can.
make me a dexterity check.
Oh my god. Fuck.
Okay. Deftly, you flick the disc back down again, jump off the chair and slide it back under the desk and make it look like you're busy very, very quickly.
Lovely.
The door opens behind you.
Who's coming in?
Are you looking? Basically, right now you're around a corner from the rest of the room that's just been entered. You'd have to sort of peer around the corner to see who was there.
Yes.
Okay. Two men enter. Neither of them appear to see you. It is the chaplain and another man who are engaged in conversation. They're speaking very quietly, but from your ability to lip read, you can basically... they're having a conversation about some sermon that's about to come up, and basically the man that is not the chaplain is sort of asking about the content of the sermon and how he's going to address certain things, and the chaplain's like, "Oh, don't worry about it. Like, so I've got this covered." And basically the chaplain begins to robe up with the assistance of the man who's with him.
Oh Christ. How far am I gonna go down this rabbit hole? Fuck. I'll feel so bad if I do this. Can I sleep them?
Okay.
Yes. Oh, holy shit.
Give me a cast of sleep.
Oh god, I'm gonna fucking cast at the highest level. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
That's so low.
Here we go.
Okay. Your spell goes off. I need to roll. Okay. Do you what components does sleep have?
Sand or
No,
rose
sorry.
petals or something.
What's verbal, somnatic, etc.
Oh, I think all of them. But I could subtle spell it.
Do you subtle spell it?
Yes, because I'm hiding.
Okay. In that case, actually no, they wouldn't even get a roll for that. Yeah, no. The two men in front of you drop to the floor.
I'm gonna just like very quickly be like, oh god, I'm so sorry. I'm just gonna do this really quickly, and I
Okay.
get the holy symbol of the chaplain.
You take the chaplain's holy symbol, and that is where we will leave it for this week.
Oh my god, such a cliffhanger.
Because I will admit that is not how I expected you to solve that, but
Oh my god.
it is certainly interesting.
You walked. I needed a holy symbol. You walked two people with a holy symbol into that room.
I did.
Was in the locked box?
Well, hang on.
I could have heard that wrong, but that's what I was thinking. But that's irrelevant because this is happening.
Yes, this is happening. So,
This is definitely happening.
with that, we will end for the session, and I need some people to tell me what they have learned this session, whilst I do some maths.
I have learned that I'm an awful person.
Oh, you're not. Look, if I was you, I would have done the. So, I don't know what that says about me, but whatever.
Okay. The question I have to decide right now is, do you get experience for knocking them out?
Please don't give me experience for knocking two people unconscious who were totally innocent.
Look, give us all the
You
experience.
just knock them unconscious. That's fine.
Look, we need.
Actually,
all
they're
the
not even
experience
unconscious. They're just asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. It was not painful.
I think sleep only lasts 1 minute. So I have 1 minute to get the fuck out of there.
Mm.
Well, after you use the holy symbol.
Yes. Give me just a second. Yeah. So okay, what have you learned, V? Tell me some more.
Fortune telling is fun, but I did feel like
It is.
a lot of time.
It did. Yes. I must admit, for an event that I created on the fly, it did take up a majority of the session.
I felt a little bit bad, but I was just like, I gotta do it, man. I gotta. And I will be coming back for that fucking chair.
Oh, the cat chair.
One day you will have your cat chair.
Yeah, don't worry. We'll get you a cat chair.
Yeah, I don't know. I think V had a little bit of a moral conflict there because she didn't really want to go the illegal route, but there wasn't really any other way, and she knows that they need the staff to do good things. So it's like, it's nothing personal.
Okay. I mean, you technically weren't doing anything particularly illegal until you assaulted two members of the clergy, but we won't go into that.
Look,
Yeah, all I'm saying is Vondal's gonna have the biggest crisis when you come home and explain
Okay.
what happened.
Just
If you can
lie.
tell you what
V,
happened.
I need you to lie.
Because if it was
Just give you a
anybody
little-
else, he'd get really angry. But it's
Oh.
V.
I just want to do the right thing.
I know. Vondal knows. That's
Oh,
why
look.
you have a bit of a crisis.
They might have been sleep deprived, so he might have been doing them a favor.
Oh, shut up.
Right.
Just shut up.
Oh my god.
So that's as a player, or as V. Okay. What?
As Helena, I really hope that I haven't incurred the wrath of Palor.
Oh god. I didn't even think about the Wrath of
Jinx.
Taylor.
I can't believe we're.
I mean,
Right.
let's just say you've caught me off guard, but I am going to make sure that there are some form of consequences for solving it this way.
How did you think I was gonna solve that first? Be
Well, they were-
completely honest.
There was an entirely different way that you could have done this. It would have involved you going out and coming back again at a later date, but there was a way you could have solved it without assaulting 2 people.
Oh wow.
I was just like it was an opportunity to do it now, and I was just like, I have to take it. I have to take it.
Okay.
Just that we've done something productive.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I've learned that I'm an awful person.
Well, you're not.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you
Also,
may have.
My rolls at the start of this session were garbage, and then when I went into stealth, they were suddenly amazing.
They were pretty good.
Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic.
You did. So.
Except that one perception check.
Except that one perception check. That's fine. You made up for it later with 2 nat 20s.
Yep.
On skills that you don't even have that bigger bonuses for as well, which is nice. So, you may have 450 experience for not getting very much done this session at all, but you may have 225 experience for knocking out 2 members of the clergy.
Wow.
How much is that in total?
675.
Why did you give me experience, Rob? Why did you do this shit just to make me feel even worse?
Because technically you did overcome what could have become a combat encounter.
Well, at least you didn't have to fight members of the clergy.
Yeah,
At least nobody's
peacefully
dead.
knocked them out. Oh god.
So, Cav, would you like to go next?
Sure. Oh god. This bit gets very, very hard.
Well, I would think you've had a lot of experiences as your character this session.
Yeah. God.
Because you're kind of arguing against your entire party.
Yeah. Because once again, we have the whole, like, this is illegal. This is very, very questionable. So yeah, I guess once again he's having that classic internal conflict. Because, like, I like to think that he isn't just, like, he does, like, realise that sometimes it is necessary. He just doesn't like to admit it openly.
The question is, will Torm see it the same?
Yeah, which is definitely something he's worried about. And then, of course, there's the message.
Yes. What could they have meant? Because you've received 2 messages recently.
I know. Oh,
which one does it refer to?
I think I have
Or
a
is it
pretty
all
damn
just
good idea.
bullshit?
I think I have a pretty damn good idea which one it is, but you know. And then, I don't know. I actually think that as a player, I've had a lot more moments of being able to separate myself from Vondal. Moments where I've gone, I don't want to do this, but it's what Vondal would do. Like,
Okay.
it's only really been like minor dialogue stuff, but it's still something I've been able to do, and I think that's an accomplishment of sorts.
Yes. No. It's definitely good if you're keeping out of game thoughts and in game thoughts separate.
Because there's been a few moments in conversation where I've gone, I wouldn't say this, but Vondal definitely would.
Cool. Yeah. Have your 450 experience, and you are free to go as you wish.
Hurrah.
We actually finished on time for once? What the heck is this?
I know, the fuck?
Well, you came to such a good point for me to stop. I thought we'd stop it now.
Yeah, that's the second campaign we've finished, like, with that isn't just me being like, I have to go, like, now.
Yeah. Cool. So, who's next? Anyone?
Guess I'll go.
Okay.
Arya learned that maybe fortune bullshit practice as she thought it was. Because that was alarmingly close to reality.
Yeah, again, I will iterate. None of that was me deliberately twisting what cards meant. That was a legitimate reading. So interpret as you will.
I think the cosmos is trying to tell us something here.
Perhaps. I just liked
well.
that the future card you picked has now basically decided that I am in fact going to do one of the things that I wasn't sure whether I was going to do in the future. And now that that card's come up, I have to do it.
I can't believe this is happening. Who knew that some one-off fortune telling would change the direction?
That I literally improvised off the fact that you guys decided you wanted your fortunes told, so I literally just made it up on the spot.
Be careful what you do, guys. It'll change your whole life.
Yep.
Wow.
Good life lessons.
I guess so. Even getting your fortune told can change your fortune, which is just like
Spooky.
spoopy.
Mind-bending.
Cool.
But did
Yeah.
the fortune teller predict that having your fortune told would change your fortune?
But-
Oh!
Oh shit.
What did you
Does it count
learn?
that the fortune teller is Rob though?
I mean, yeah, technically the fortune teller has no idea of the impact of what you said.
True. Man, as a player, I also learned fortune telling is possibly less bullshit than I originally thought. That was kind of weird.
It's funny actually because, and this is a little bit out of context, but I feel like it's relevant. I as a person did some research into the art of fortune telling and astrology as part of my preparation for becoming a dungeon master.
Wow.
Because it's about taking events and interpreting them. It's actually an exercise in improvisation. So I found it exceedingly funny that it turned out to be quite relevant, the fact that I'd learned the art of this sort of thing. So yes, interjection. In preparation for learning improv and becoming a dungeon master, I did research into the art of fortune telling.
Well, there you go. Suddenly, the fortune telling is much more legit than you thought it was.
Wow, fun fact.
Yes.
Anyway,
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
cool. So you had fun
I
with
also
fortune
learned that
telling?
I really enjoy Cassian
Yes.
a lot. She is great.
Cassian is a very fun character to play. Cool, yeah, you may have 450. Now, who's next?
Well, I guess I could go next. As Grim, I learned that this situation is going to be a lot trickier than we initially expected. Because, well, we found the Brotherhood or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, they only have half the actual artifact.
Yes.
And what else?
It's almost as if your GM doesn't want to hand you powerful magical artifacts.
Why not? It's look, it's like candy. It's fine. Good reward. What else? Well, he's trying to please Vondal a little bit, or like keep him like happy.
Yeah.
And he had like the one remark of, "Is it truly theirs? So would it be unlawful to take it back?"
Yeah, you gave Vondal a theology question that pacified him. Yes, you have certainly played the intermediary today.
Yeah. I guess that is and then he wasn't interested in the reading,
Yes.
sadly.
Which is a shame, because as a player, you would very much have liked to have done it.
Yeah, I would almost say tag it on the end, but then you would have to find everything again and all that stuff.
Maybe we'll do it after the recording ends.
Okay. And as a player, at the start with all the shopping and all that stuff, I realized that we started asking about like things that could be there less and less. Like, for example, it wasn't until you mentioned it in break for the pawn shop that we even considered that there might be anything there.
Hmm.
And I feel like we just go with what you tell us more and more and ask slightly less questions and just take what you say for, okay, this is what we have to work with. And I feel like we need to ask
yeah,
more.
you've discovered a limitation in your play.
Yep.
Ah, that's very good. So, something definitely to learn for the future.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, because if you ask, I didn't even consider the fact that you guys could get anything out of the pawn shop until you said so, and I improvised.
Oh.
So, ask and you shall receive.
Yeah.
Cool. 450 experience.
Nice.
And last but not least,
Well, I mean, it's kind of interesting because right now the relic is very close, but also not at all because of, the whole situation where half of it's kind of in the possession of the Church of Pelor in the town, which is fun. Though I will say that if something maybe I won't say it yet because it might still come up depending on how this next bit goes. Though I have a feeling that this will play out all right, so it's kind of, well, I hope. But there's a plan that Kelariis was going to put into action if things didn't play out, or don't play out, I guess I should say. That might be a little rash and might end up with some interesting consequences because things.
Yes.
I'll explain after.
Let's keep that to ourselves for a little while.
Okay. But the fortune telling, I think everybody that had a fortune telling this session was kind of surprised by what was said, or what was drawn, I guess should be what it is. But Kelariis is probably a little on edge after that. I'm on edge because I'm a little worried about that.
Particularly your future, which was somewhat unexpected.
That was the best card to draw for anyone ever. Just saying that.
I wasn't expecting that. So that was interesting. But yeah. I don't know, it's kind of a lot of torn between not wanting to do anything horribly illegal and like getting everybody into trouble for Kelariis right now, and wanting to kind of just act the way that she kind of has in the past. But kind of having the entire congregation of Pelorian followers coming after her and her party probably isn't an optimal end result.
Yeah. The only reason you aren't breaking and entering to try and find the staff is not because you care about what's going wrong, it's because you care about your party getting messed up in it.
Yes, exactly. If it was just Kelariis, she would have gone for it, but she's got others to consider, which is important to her.
Destiny is shaped by your companions.
Yeah. And I guess, I don't know, as me, there were a couple of times where I realized, like, well, like I said, Kelariis would have acted, but she doesn't want to get her party, like, her friends and the people that she cares about kind of dragged into things, in the same way that she wouldn't care if it was just her. So I think that was kind of, I knew that from the beginning, but it was kind of interesting to realize it in the moment.
Yes.
Today. Also, Cassian's a very interesting character, and I really enjoy her. So that's me as Jayla saying that, but
good to know.
She's a very interesting character, and I kind of almost wonder what would have happened if I had responded the way that she wanted to her trial. But we'll never know.
We'll never know.
But yeah.
Yes. 450 experience. And with that, it's time for some of us to make like some priests and go to sleep.
Oh my
So-
God.
Alright then.
Rise.
We will call it an evening there, and I will thank you for playing, and I will thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.